You just ate lunch. An hour later, you can't focus. Your brain feels sluggish. You're irritable for no reason. You blame it on being tired. But here's what's actually happening. The food you just ate is chemically altering your brain right now. Most people think food is just fuel. Calories in, energy out. But your brain isn't a gas tank. It's a chemistry lab. And every single thing you eat changes the chemical environment that determines how you think, feel, and function. That sandwich didn't just fill your stomach. It triggered insulin responses that affect your mood. It fed bacteria in your gut that produce neurotransmitters. It either reduced or increased inflammation in your brain tissue. It provided or failed to provide the raw materials your neurons need to fire properly. The connection between food and mental state isn't subtle. It's immediate, measurable, and more powerful than most people realize. What you eat doesn't just affect your body. It affects your cognition, your emotional regulation, and your long-term brain health. If you want to understand the actual psychology and neuroscience behind what you're putting in your body, subscribe to that Stoic Stick. We break down how your brain actually works, not how you think it works. Let's talk about what's really on your plate. 1. The glucose roller coaster. Your brain is 2% of your body weight, but consumes 20% of your energy. And that energy comes from one primary source, glucose. Blood sugar isn't just something diabetics need to monitor. It's the fuel your brain runs on every single second. And when that fuel supply fluctuates, your mental state fluctuates with it. Here's what happens when you eat something high in refined sugar or simple carbs. Let's say a donut, a soda, white bread, anything that breaks down into glucose quickly. Your blood sugar spikes fast. Your pancreas releases insulin to deal with that spike, shuttling glucose into your cells. For a brief window, you feel great, energized, focused. Your brain is getting a flood of its favorite fuel. But then the crash comes. Insulin does its job too well. Your blood sugar drops, sometimes below where it started. And when that happens, your brain goes into crisis mode. Glucose is its primary energy source, and suddenly there's not enough. So what does it do? It triggers a stress response. Your body releases cortisol and adrenaline to mobilize stored glucose. You feel anxious, irritable, shaky. Your focus disintegrates. Decision-making becomes impaired because your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thought, is energy expensive, and it's the first thing to shut down when fuel runs low. This is why you make terrible decisions when you're hungry. It's not willpower, it's neurochemistry. Studies show that judges are significantly more likely to grant parole early in the day or right after lunch when their blood sugar is stable. Later in the day, as glucose drops, they default to the safer, easier decision, denial. Your brain, running low on fuel, conserves energy by taking cognitive shortcuts. Nuance disappears. Impulse control weakens. You become a worse version of yourself, and you don't even realize it's happening. But it's not just about hunger. It's about the volatility. The spike and crash cycle creates emotional instability that people mistake for personality or mental health issues. You're not randomly moody. You're riding a glucose roller coaster that your diet created. Now let's contrast that with stable blood sugar. When you eat foods that release glucose slowly, complex carbs, fiber, protein, healthy fats, your blood sugar rises gradually and stays relatively steady. No spike, no crash. Your brain gets consistent fuel. And when your brain has consistent fuel, you have consistent cognition. Your mood stabilizes. Your focus holds. Your decision-making improves because your prefrontal cortex isn't rationing energy. There's also a direct link between blood sugar instability and mental health. Research shows that people with poorly regulated blood sugar are at higher risk for anxiety and depression. Why? Because the brain interprets blood sugar crashes as a threat. It activates your fight or flight response. Chronic activation of that stress response doesn't just make you feel anxious in the moment. It rewires your brain over time to be more reactive, more vigilant, more prone to perceiving danger. And here's the part most people don't realize. This isn't just about what you eat. It's about when you eat and how you combine foods. Eating a piece of fruit by itself, blood sugar spike. Eating that same fruit with a handful of nuts, the fat and protein slow glucose absorption, creating a steady release instead of a spike. Skipping breakfast and chugging coffee, you're setting yourself up for a crash by mid-morning. Starting your day with protein and fiber, you're building stable energy that lasts. The glucose roller coaster isn't a metaphor. It's a literal biochemical cycle that dictates your mental state hour by hour. And the wildest part? Most people are on this ride every single day and have no idea it's happening. They think they're just not a morning person or always tired after lunch. But it's not personality. It's blood sugar. It's the direct, immediate consequence of what you ate and how your brain is responding to it. You can't think your way off this roller coaster. You have to eat your way off it. Stable blood sugar equals stable mind. It's that simple and that powerful. 2. The gut-brain highway. Your gut and your brain are in constant communication. Not metaphorically, literally. There's a physical highway connecting them called the vagus nerve, and it's sending signals back and forth every single second. What happens in your stomach doesn't stay in your stomach. It goes straight to your brain, and it changes how you think and feel. This is why your gut is called your second brain. It contains over 100 million neurons, more than your spinal cord. It produces neurotransmitters. It has its own nervous system that can operate independently of your brain. And it's directly wired to your emotional and cognitive centers through the vagus nerve, a massive neural pathway that runs from your brainstem to your abdomen. Here's what most people don't realize. The communication on this highway is mostly one way. About 90% of the signals travel from your gut to your brain, not the other way around. Your gut is talking to your brain constantly, sending information about what you've eaten, the state of your microbiome, inflammation levels, nutrient availability, and your brain listens. It adjusts your mood, your stress response, your cognition based on what your gut is telling it. Now let's talk about the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive system. These aren't just passive residents. They're active participants in your neurochemistry. Your gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters. Serotonin, the chemical associated with mood regulation and happiness. About 90% of your body's serotonin is produced in your gut, not your brain. GABA, the neurotransmitter that calms anxiety. Certain gut bacteria produce it. Dopamine, the reward and motivation chemical. also manufactured in your gut. This means the composition of your microbiome directly affects your mental state. If you have a diverse, healthy gut bacteria population, you're producing adequate neurotransmitters. If your microbiome is depleted or imbalanced from antibiotics, poor diet, chronic stress, your neurotransmitter production suffers. And when that happens, so does your mood, your motivation, your emotional regulation. Studies back this up in ways that sound almost unbelievable. Researchers have taken gut bacteria from depressed humans and transplanted them into mice. The mice developed depression-like behaviors. They took gut bacteria from anxious humans and put them in mice. The mice became more anxious. The bacteria alone, without any other variable, changed behavior and mental state. That's how powerful this connection is. There's also the inflammation factor. When you eat processed foods, sugar, or foods you're intolerant to, it damages your gut lining. This creates something called intestinal permeability, or leaky gut, where particles that should stay in your digestive system leak into your bloodstream. Your immune system recognizes these particles as foreign and mounts an inflammatory response. And inflammation doesn't stay local, it goes systemic, including to your brain. Neuroinflammation, inflammation in brain tissue is linked to depression, anxiety, brain fog, and cognitive decline. And it often starts in the gut. Your stomach isn't just digesting food. It's either protecting your brain from inflammation or feeding it. The vagus nerve is also involved in your stress response. When you're anxious or stressed, your brain signals your gut, which is why you get that sick, tight feeling in your stomach during stressful situations. But the reverse is also true. When your gut is inflamed or your microbiome is imbalanced, it sends stress signals to your brain. You feel anxious and you don't know why. It's not external stress. It's your gut telling your brain something is wrong. So what does this mean practically? It means your mental health isn't just happening in your head. It's happening in your gut. The food you eat shapes your microbiome. Your microbiome produces the chemicals that regulate your emotions. And those signals travel directly to your brain via the vagus nerve, influencing everything from your mood to your stress response to your cognitive function. Your stomach isn't just digesting, it's thinking. And what you feed determines what it tells your brain. 3. The inflammation factor. Inflammation is supposed to protect you. It's your immune system's response to injury or infection, a temporary defense mechanism that heals damage and fights threats. But when inflammation becomes chronic, when it never turns off, it stops being protective and starts being destructive. And one of the places it does the most damage is your brain. Certain foods trigger inflammation, not acutely like an allergic reaction, chronically, subtly, over time. And that chronic inflammation doesn't just affect your joints or your arteries. It affects your neurons, your neurotransmitter production, your cognitive function. It's one of the primary mechanisms by which diet destroys mental clarity and mood stability. Here's how it works. When you eat highly processed foods, refined sugars, trans fats, or foods you're intolerant to, your immune system recognizes them as low-grade threats. It releases inflammatory cytokines, signaling molecules that tell your body to mount a defense response. In small doses, this is manageable. But when you're eating inflammatory foods every day, multiple times a day, those cytokines stay elevated. Your body exists in a constant state of low-level immune activation. And here's the problem. Inflammatory cytokines cross the blood-brain barrier. Once they're in your brain, they interfere with neurotransmitter metabolism. They reduce serotonin production. They disrupt dopamine signaling. They impair the function of your prefrontal cortex. Essentially, inflammation makes your brain work worse. And the symptoms of that look a lot like mental illness. Brain fog is one of the most common manifestations. You can't focus. Your thoughts feel sluggish. Memory recall is harder. You're mentally exhausted even though you didn't do anything mentally demanding. This isn't laziness or lack of sleep. It's neuroinflammation physically interfering with neural communication. Your brain is trying to think through a haze of immune activity. Depression is another. There's a growing body of research showing that chronic inflammation is a major driver of depressive symptoms. In fact, some researchers now view certain types of depression as inflammatory disorders, not purely psychological ones. Inflammatory cytokines reduce the availability of tryptophan, the amino acid your brain uses to make serotonin. Less serotonin means worse mood regulation. Inflammation also activates your stress response, keeping cortisol elevated, which further suppresses neurotransmitter production. You end up in a biochemical state that mirrors clinical depression, triggered not by trauma or circumstance, but by what you ate. Anxiety follows a similar pathway. Chronic inflammation keeps your nervous system in a heightened state of reactivity. Your brain interprets the inflammatory signals as danger, activating your fight or flight response even when there's no actual threat. You feel on edge. Your heart rate is elevated. You're hypervigilant. And you have no idea it's because of the food you ate 3 hours ago. Then there's cognitive decline. Long-term inflammation accelerates the death of neurons and impairs neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. Studies show that people with chronically elevated inflammatory markers have higher rates of dementia, Alzheimer's, and age-related cognitive decline. Inflammation doesn't just make you feel worse now. It degrades your brain's structure over time. So which foods are the worst offenders? Refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup top the list. They spike insulin, promote fat storage, and trigger inflammatory pathways throughout the body. Trans fats and heavily processed seed oils are next. They directly damage cell membranes and promote oxidative stress. Highly processed foods with additives, preservatives, and artificial ingredients create immune responses because your body doesn't recognize them as food. And for some people, gluten, dairy, or other common allergens trigger inflammation even if they don't cause obvious digestive symptoms. The anti-inflammatory foods? Omega-3 fatty acids from fish, flaxseed, and walnuts. Leafy greens and colorful vegetables rich in antioxidants. Fermented foods that support gut health. Turmeric, ginger, and other spices with natural anti-inflammatory compounds. Whole foods that your body recognizes and processes cleanly. Here's the reality. You can't think your way out of neuroinflammation. You can't meditate it away or therapy it into submission. If your brain is inflamed because of your diet, the solution is biochemical, not psychological. You have to stop eating what's inflaming you and start eating what reduces it. Inflammation isn't invisible, it's just subtle. And by the time you notice it, it's already been affecting your brain for years. 4. The building blocks. Your brain isn't just using food for energy. It's using food as raw material. Neurons, neurotransmitters, cell membranes, myelin sheaths, all of it is built from nutrients you consume. And when those nutrients are missing, your brain can't build what it needs. It starts to break down. Function deteriorates. And the symptoms show up as mood disorders, cognitive decline, and mental dysfunction that people treat as psychological problems when they're actually nutritional ones. Let's start with omega-3 fatty acids. Your brain is about 60% fat, and a huge portion of that is DHA, a type of omega-3. DHA is a structural component of your neurons. It's in the cell membranes that allow electrical signals to pass between brain cells. Without adequate DHA, those membranes become rigid and less efficient. Neural communication slows down. Cognitive function declines. Omega-3 deficiency is linked to depression, anxiety, ADHD, and memory problems. Why? Because your brain physically can't maintain its structure without it. Studies show that people with low omega-3 levels have smaller brain volume and perform worse on cognitive tests. It's not subtle. Your brain is literally shrinking without this nutrient. And most people eating a standard Western diet are deficient because omega-3 south come primarily from fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts, foods most people don't eat enough of. Then there are B vitamins, especially B6, B9, folate, and B12. These vitamins are critical for neurotransmitter synthesis. Your brain uses them to convert amino acids into serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, the chemicals that regulate mood, motivation, and stress response. If you're deficient in B vitamins, your neurotransmitter production bottlenecks. You can have all the precursor amino acids in the world, but without B vitamins, your brain can't turn them into the chemicals it needs. B12 deficiency is especially insidious because it develops slowly and mimics psychiatric disorders. Symptoms include depression, anxiety, cognitive fog, memory loss, and even paranoia or hallucinations in severe cases. Doctors often misdiagnose it as mental illness and prescribe psychiatric medications when the actual problem is nutritional. One blood test and a B12 supplement could fix it, but instead people end up on antidepressants for years. Amino acids are another critical piece. These are the building blocks of proteins, and your brain uses specific amino acids to make neurotransmitters. Tryptophan becomes serotonin, tyrosine becomes dopamine, glutamine becomes GABA. If your diet lacks adequate protein or doesn't include a variety of amino acids, your brain runs out of the raw materials it needs to produce these chemicals. This is why extremely low-protein diets often lead to mood disturbances. You're not giving your brain what it needs to make the chemicals that keep you emotionally stable. And it's not just about quantity, it's about quality and variety. Complete proteins that contain all essential amino acids are ideal. Think meat, fish, eggs, dairy, or combinations of plant proteins like rice and beans. Then there's magnesium. It's involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body, including neurotransmitter regulation and stress response management. Magnesium deficiency is extremely common. Some estimates suggest over half the population is deficient, and the Symptoms look like anxiety, insomnia, irritability, and muscle tension. Your nervous system literally can't calm down without adequate magnesium. Vitamin D is another one. It acts more like a hormone than a vitamin, and it's involved in neurotransmitter synthesis and neuroprotection. Low vitamin D is strongly associated with depression, especially seasonal affective disorder. Your brain needs it to function optimally, and most people aren't getting enough, especially those who live in northern climates or spend most of their time indoors. Iron is critical too, particularly for women. It's necessary for oxygen transport to the brain and dopamine production. Iron deficiency causes fatigue, brain fog, poor concentration, and mood disturbances. Your brain is starving for oxygen and can't make the neurotransmitters it needs. Here's what people don't realize. Nutrient deficiencies don't announce themselves clearly. You don't wake up one day and think, I'm definitely low in omega-3 south. You just feel off, tired, unfocused, moody. And because the symptoms are vague and develop gradually, you assume it's stress, aging, or just who you are. But it's not. It's biochemistry. Your brain is a physical organ with physical requirements. When those requirements aren't met, it malfunctions. And no amount of therapy, meditation, or positive thinking can compensate for a brain that doesn't have the nutrients it needs to build itself. 5. The long game. Everything we've talked about so far, blood sugar, gut health, inflammation, nutrients, those affect you today, tomorrow, this week. But there's a longer timeline at play. The food you eat now is shaping your brain's future. It's determining whether your cognitive function stays sharp or deteriorates, whether your memory remains intact or fades, whether you end up with dementia or you stay mentally clear into old age. This isn't scare tactics. This is neuroscience. Let's start with neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections, adapt, and reorganize itself. This is how you learn new skills, recover from injury, and maintain cognitive flexibility as you age. Neuroplasticity isn't fixed. It's influenced by your environment, your behavior, and critically, your diet. Diets high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats impair neuroplasticity. They reduce the production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is essentially fertilizer for your neurons. BDNF promotes the growth of new neural connections and protects existing ones. When BDNF levels drop, your brain loses its ability to adapt and learn efficiently. You become cognitively rigid. New information is harder to retain. Old patterns become harder to break. On the flip side, diets rich in omega-3 south, antioxidants, and whole foods boost BDNF production. They enhance neuroplasticity, making your brain more adaptable, more resilient, and better at forming new memories. This isn't just about being smarter. It's about maintaining the capacity to grow and change throughout your entire life. Memory formation is directly tied to this. Your hippocampus, the brain region responsible for learning and memory, is particularly vulnerable to diet. High sugar, high fat diets actually shrink the hippocampus over time. Studies show that people who consume these diets perform worse on memory tests and have measurably smaller hippocampal volume on brain scans. You're not just forgetting where you put your keys. You're physically reducing the size of the brain structure responsible for memory. And it's not just acute memory that suffers. Long-term memory consolidation, the process of converting short-term memories into permanent ones, requires adequate nutrients and stable brain chemistry. Chronic inflammation, blood sugar instability, and nutrient deficiencies all interfere with this process. Your brain is trying to store information, but it doesn't have the resources to do it effectively. Now let's talk about the big one: neurodegenerative diseases. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, these aren't just genetic inevitabilities. They're significantly influenced by lifestyle, and diet is one of the biggest factors. In fact, Alzheimer's is increasingly being referred to as type 3 diabetes because of the strong link between insulin resistance and cognitive decline. Here's the mechanism. Chronic high blood sugar and insulin resistance damage blood vessels in the brain, reduce glucose uptake by neurons, and promote the accumulation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, the hallmark proteins of Alzheimer's. Your diet isn't just affecting how you feel today. It's determining whether your brain develops the pathology that leads to dementia decades from now. The Mediterranean diet, rich in fish, olive oil, vegetables, whole grains, has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's by up to 53%. The MIND diet, which combines Mediterranean and DASH principles, shows similar protective effects. These aren't miracle cures. They're just diets that provide the nutrients your brain needs and avoid the foods that damage it. Oxidative stress is another long-term factor. Your brain uses a massive amount of oxygen, which creates free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells. Antioxidants from colorful fruits and vegetables neutralize these free radicals. Without adequate antioxidants, oxidative damage accumulates over decades, degrading neural tissue and accelerating aging. Then there's the vascular component. Your brain depends on a healthy blood supply. Diets that promote cardiovascular disease, high in trans fats, processed meats, excessive sodium, reduce blood flow to the brain. Less blood flow means less oxygen and nutrients reaching your neurons. Over time, this leads to vascular dementia and cognitive impairment. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The brain you have at 70 is largely determined by what you ate at 30, 40, and 50. The damage accumulates slowly, silently, invisibly. By the time symptoms appear, the pathology has been developing for years, sometimes decades. But the reverse is also true. Every meal that supports your brain, stable blood sugar, anti-inflammatory foods, nutrient-dense whole foods, is an investment in your cognitive future. You're not just eating for today. You're building the brain you'll live in for the rest of your life. The long game isn't glamorous. It doesn't give you instant results. But it's the most important game there is, because losing your mind isn't a sudden event. It's a slow process, and it starts with what you put on your plate. So here's what we know. The food you eat isn't just filling your stomach. It's directly altering your brain chemistry in real time. Blood sugar spikes and crashes control your mood and decision-making. Your gut microbiome produces the neurotransmitters that regulate how you feel. Chronic inflammation from processed foods creates brain fog, depression, and cognitive decline. Nutrient deficiencies starve your brain of the building blocks it needs to function. And over the long term, your diet is either protecting your brain or setting you up for neurodegeneration. This isn't abstract. It's not theoretical. It's happening right now with every meal. Your brain is responding to what you ate an hour ago, what you ate yesterday, what you've been eating for years. And the cumulative effect of those choices is shaping your mental clarity, your emotional stability, and your cognitive future. The good news? You have control. You can't control your genetics. You can't control a lot of external stressors, but you can control what you put in your body. And when you change what you eat, you change how your brain works. Not eventually, immediately. Stable blood sugar means stable mood. A healthy gut means better neurotransmitter production. Anti-inflammatory foods mean clearer thinking. Adequate nutrients mean your brain can build and repair itself. And long-term dietary habits mean you're stacking the odds in favor of keeping your mind sharp as you age. Your brain isn't separate from your body. It's not immune to what you consume. It's built from it, fueled by it, and affected by it every single day. What you eat matters more than most people realize. And now you know why. If this changed how you think about food and mental health, drop a comment and tell me what you're changing in your diet. And subscribe to that Stoic Stick for more psychology and neuroscience that cuts through the noise and gives you what actually matters. Your brain is listening. Feed it accordingly.